we started with an easier way of approaching horizontal motion of the wrist and fingers, which was by, after assuming the Franco-Belgian bow grip in your hands, facing the hair towards you and raising the bow off your hand. And not thinking too much about how you did it, and lowering it down. The whole time imagining that it's in a tube, so that it's traveling in straight lines. We are about reconciling circles with straight lines, yeah? That's horizontal motion. If you do that sideways now with the hair over the floor, you're now moving the bow back and forth horizontally, actively, with the fingers. This can happen, by the way, actively or passively. If this is active, all I want you to think of for passive is if the bow doesn't move, and you try to close the elbow, the fingers release to one shape. If you pull the bow downward, they release to the other shape. That's passive motion. If you do it actively, as in a thrown spiccato or something like that, it's active. You're moving the fingers in conjunction with the arm, is where the bow becomes an extension of the arm. Next, vertical motion of the wrist and fingers. Here, the stick remains over the hair because we're all about the flat bow hair so that we can make the maximum amount of sound. We'll deliberately turn the hair sideways if we don't want as much sound, but we have to be able to play with full hair. So we lower it with the stick directly over the hair, out of the hand. We don't think how we do it. And we raise it up into the hand. Now, once you've done both of these motions, you can analyze everything that the hand is doing. When you're doing the vertical motion, your third finger and pinky are lifting the bow up and the bow is rocking across the axis of the hand. When you're doing, that was horizontal, pardon me. When you're doing the vertical motion, lowering the bow, you'll feel your thumb extending and straightening and the fingers straightening underneath the hand. The weight borne gently in the fingertips and the bow balanced gently in the pinky. As you raise it up into the hand, you'll feel an increased roll of balance in the pinky, and you'll feel that the thumb is more bent, the tip point of the thumb pointed more towards the ceiling. But if you try to send those kind of commands, remember what I said yesterday, it's like the caterpillar asking what leg number 34 is doing. It's much better to put all of the things I teach through the filters of result and comfort. If you think about what you want to have happen, you want to lower that bow to the ground, and you want to raise the bow up, and you want the hair to stay under the stick, there's not 20 different ways for it to happen. Your hand will do the right things. It's where teachers overcomplicate stuff. Right? You can't do it any other way. That's why Gadamen had the audacity to say there aren't that many ways to play the violin really well. Because whether you hold with Heifetz's grip, you have to be able to raise and lower the bow. Whether you hold halfway between with Milstein's grip, which is still deep in the second joint of the finger, but begins to look more like the Franco-Belgian school, you still have to have that flexibility. Whether you hold with Oistrakh, it doesn't matter. We all have hands, so that the fingers have to lengthen, curl. Yeah? Then we have pivoting. This is very important because in order to do off-the-string strokes and not carry the arm weight. Remember I said we don't want to carry the arm weight, we want to feel like we're hanging, even when we're doing bouncing strokes? We have to be able to raise the bow off the string this way instead of the old way. This is raising my arm weight away from the instrument, I lose power. This, I can be off the string, but I haven't lifted any arm weight. So I can decide how lightly I want it to be played or how powerfully I want it to be by lowering the wrist, because I'm not carrying that arm weight. So the pivoting, that's what we call that, pivoting. Yeah? We lean into the string. That's also important for the other reason. What is this called? What did I just do to the string? I put my lips together. Catch. So the opposite of lifting off, you use that motion of the counter pressure between the ring of power, that's the second finger and the thumb, and the index finger to catch the string before you make a sound, putting your lips together. So that both down bows and up bows, if we want to click, have a clear click. Very simple, yeah? Okay, then to that we add the balance of the bow. Very important, because in order to not carry arm weight and in order to have legatos, we have to feel the relationship of the bow able to be balanced this way in the hand. That can come from the intrinsic muscles of the hand and fingers, or from pronation and supination at the elbow joint. So in other words, this is part of the whole pivoting action as it relates to balance of the bow. This type of pivoting, to feel the balance of the bow with your fingers, you can feel more pinky when you raise and lower. And you feel that your thumb is the center of the fulcrum. Okay? Let me just make sure that I'm remembering everything. Finally, the relationship of the bow to the thumb between the tip of the bow and the frog. If you hold the bows with the hair facing you straight down, with the tip roughly opposite your mouth, and raise the bow up to your face with that same motion of lifting off of your hand, you'll notice that at the frog you feel more the center or the pinky side of the thumb, and at the tip, when the index finger is curled, you feel more the index finger side of your thumb. And it's a natural motion. Going against the natural motion is what causes the problem. We have our first candidate.